Hello. Today I'm going to talk about how I had been stuck in my comfort zone before 2018 when I made my move to France, and some things I've learned about that since. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Patricia Brooks. I'm an American who moved to the south of France, and now I help people who are ready to start the next chapters living and thriving in a foreign country find the confidence and courage to actually take the leap. And on this channel, I talk about my life in France, about making a move abroad, and how to dig down deep to find the determination and grit so that you can live the kind of life you know you were meant to. And today's video is a ride-along video, and I'm just going to share my thoughts about how what feels comfortable or safe often truly isn't. It's a mirage. All right. So this came to mind for me because I am in the process of revamping the first chapter of my third book, which has been written for, over a year now. And I've had to put it aside the first 3 months of 2025 so that I could focus on my French exam. Now that that's behind me, had some time to rest up, I am back in the throes of revamping that, of revising that. And so I had some time to think about what my life was like before I moved to France. And in so doing, I recognized that I was truly in a rut that felt safe and comfortable, but also at the same time, it felt uncomfortable. It felt hard because I didn't feel like I was growing or developing in the way that I knew that I could. And so I'd wake up, every morning, every workday morning, and I'd get up not feeling so good about having to go into my job. I'd go into my job, I'd do my work, and then I'd come home. And then on the weekends, what I would do is I was tired on Saturday, so I didn't get a whole lot done. On Sunday, it was like, tomorrow I'm going to have to go into work. And I would dread work the whole day. And I would waste my time watching marathons of Law & Order, a Special Victims Unit. And now I don't know how I did that, because that is a show that I probably couldn't watch right now. There are so many movies and shows that tend to be more violent or have a more violent nature that just don't sit with me now. But back then, that was fine. I let that wash over me. And there came a time when that discomfort became too much for me to bear. There was this undercurrent of tension that felt decidedly uncomfortable. Yes, I felt safe. I had a good paying job. I only had my mortgage. I was out of debt. I only had my mortgage on my home. I had, like I said, this job that I could go into. I had routine and structure. I had friends that I could rely on. And yet I had this niggling feeling that I needed to be in a French-speaking country. And 2015 was when I got the bug of living in a French-speaking country. And in 2015, I studied my French. In 2016, I studied my French, but didn't do a whole lot more about it. It was just really this dream. One day I'll live in a French-speaking country. And then 2017 happened, January of 2017, and that undercurrent of tension kind of bubbled to the surface in what I was hearing in our president's inaugural address. And I recognized that it was time for me to not be lulled by this sense of comfort that I felt in my life. I had a comfortable life. And there was this undercurrent that was feeling more and more uncomfortable. And so that's when I said, I need to hire somebody to help me get unstuck. I was afraid. I was afraid to make this move to France. I was afraid to look at my finances to see if I could afford this move to France, because in my mind, this move to France was a dream. It was a dream that buoyed my spirits. Well, one day I'm going to be living in a French-speaking country, right? And if I looked at my bank account statements to see if I had enough in savings to support myself to get a visitor visa, and I didn't, that would dash my hopes forever. Now, that wasn't true, but because I could always save more money so that I could have the funds necessary. But in my mind, that's what I thought. It was this all or nothing thinking. Hired the coach. We had our first session. She said to me, well, how much would it cost for you to live in France just for 1 year? And I had to admit to her that I hadn't found out what that figure was, and I hadn't looked at my bank account, my savings account, to see if I had that in there. And she said, oh, well, that's easy. That's your homework for next time. And that was the thing that got me going. That was the thing that got me out of my comfort zone, was doing the hard work of looking at something that scared me, of looking at what might dash my hopes and dreams, at least for a little while, to see whether it was possible. Because not knowing wasn't helping me get there. And if I found out that I didn't have enough, then she, my coach, could help me to figure out a plan to get to where I needed to be. And I think that oftentimes we are in a place where we want something, but it's different from the life we have, or it's different from what we have right now. It would create more uncertainty. It would disrupt a routine that that gives you a sense of security and safety. But that might not really be as safe or secure as you think. I've had this happen to me other times when I was just coasting along in a job that I really didn't like. And I probably could have read the writing on the wall that they were going to reorganize or downsize or whatever they're going to do with me. And I wasn't looking for something that was better suited for me. I coasted. And then one day I got called into an office and they said, oh, well, we're doing layoffs and unfortunately you are one of the unlucky ones, right? And so instead of leaving on my own accord, or instead of even having my resume to a place where it needed to be so that I could find another job, I had kind of coasted. I was lulled into this false sense of security, this comfort zone that felt good and not good all in the same time. So have you ever experienced something like that? If you have, give this video a thumbs up. Now, I just wanted to share this with you because I think a lot of us have a tendency of falling into this trap of routine, of a comfort zone, of the idea that maybe we have more time than we actually do. And so that we put our dreams off. We put the things that we truly want to do off because, well, that feels harder. But I want to ask you this question. When you get to the end of your life, what will be harder? Looking at yourself and the things that you wanted to do but didn't attempt because, well, you had a comfortable life and that you weren't willing to do something that might disrupt that comfort, or disrupting that comfort and doing the hard thing, getting to the other side of that hard thing. And even if that hard thing is not something that is long lasting, you have found out what that is like. Which is harder? The not having done it, or having done it and found out and seeing what you're made of. Now, if you have been wanting to make a move abroad and you've been thinking about it and you've been questioning, well, maybe I'm just romanticizing this, or maybe you are telling yourself, who am I to make a move abroad? I really want this, but there's so many other people who might want to do this thing and can't do it. Or maybe you have started the process and stopped it. Or maybe you're like me, you're afraid to look at your finances to see what it will take and if you have enough in the way of money to make it happen. Then I urge you to schedule a complimentary discovery call. On this call, we'll talk about your dream of moving abroad, how long you've had it, where it is you want to go, what things might be holding you back. And at the end of that call, if I feel like there is something I have to offer you, some coaching that could help you to move through this so that you don't have to get to the end of your life wondering what could have been if only you'd moved out of that comfort zone. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description of this video. Be sure to click on that, schedule your time, and I so look forward to our conversation. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.